One of the biggest challenges in my startup career was back when I was running my first startup called Booking Angel, and I'd been living in Silicon Valley for a few years. I think this was 2009, and my mum called me to say, hey, some bad news, your grandfather's passed away and you're going to have to come home for the funeral. And, I was sad not only for the fact that I'd lost someone super close to me that had been a mentor and an inspiration to me, but then also that I looked at my bank account and I had $952 left in the bank account. And I knew that wasn't even enough for an airfare back to Silicon Valley afterwards. So I was kind of like at the end of my straw, and I had to jump on a plane the next day to kind of head back overseas. And I was sitting in a bar with a guy called Alistair Faulkner, who's now the founder of Darwinium. And he said to me something pretty cool. He was like, I was really sad. We had a couple of drinks and, I was almost in tears. And I was like, I feel like such a failure. And he said, sometimes, Dino, when you focus on plan B, plan A works out anyway. And I remember those words kind of sticking in my head. And I came back home, went to the funeral for my grandfather, which was super sad. But then even sadder, I was 32 years old and had to move back in with my parents. I was broke, I had nothing. And I was like, I guess it's time to focus on plan B. And my parents were focusing me on getting a job. So rather than getting a normal corporate job, I managed to hustle a job with the Pollenizer guys, Phil Mall and Nick Labinskis. So I was in their office helping project manage some jobs. And then as fate would have it, while focusing on plan B, we actually closed a deal for Booking Angel, my first company. And so I was in the office with them and managed to convince them to help me implement this deal that we just closed. It involved needing to do a bit of tech work. And then because I was working with them, I was working with them on a few other projects to get paid and earn some money just to pay some bills. And then it was during that moment at a Christmas party where I was talking to Phil Mall from Pollenizer, and I convinced him, hey, I saw this interesting model over in the US. It was kind of adjacent to what I was doing with reservations, very similar in the group buying space. And that was the genesis of Spreets, So sometimes as founders, we kind of hold on to things too tightly. And like when you want something so much and you're forcing the world and the universe to try and give it to you, you don't get it. But as soon as you let go of it and let go of the idea of needing it and it being your identity and who you are, you actually end up getting it in another way. And it's funny how things like that work out.